What's up, beautiful people? It's your girl, it's Leanne. I'm getting blissed out with another Shedding into Soul Culture podcast, number 19. I'm here growing a legacy of taking wonderful tools and meeting beautiful humans in the community that are working on themselves from within and from without. I want to welcome to the show a good friend that I met at a meditation center, my dear Sav Cheema.
Hello, everybody.
So, Sav, where are you living? Out in Abbotsford or?
Yes, in Abbotsford, BC.
All right. And looks like you got a bunch of books behind you. Are you an avid reader?
Yes, most of the time.
Well, it's good. I mean, like we got to open up our mind. First of all, reading is great for concentration. But at the same time, I feel all of us have our own thing about reading as children of a generation with computers, right? We
Right.
were born into this learning how to type in school, and we were on screens. And so we're in that generation where going back to reading can actually slow us down and help us to stay focused. Now, audience, we're going back into another wonderful client of mine, Sav, who had the chance to spend the last 8 weeks with me, finishing this week, learning more about his chakra therapy and utilizing sound therapy, chakras, yoga, asana, and dynamic methods from my Zen master. So throughout that process, we were able to connect with learning. And during this podcast, we were going to just go through some of the feelings that Sav had learned about himself and maybe learned about reflecting with another voice in the room and just going to the generic, general aspects of the benefits and how this has helped his life. So
So,
Sav, yeah, we can just go back to week one, role play, go back 8 weeks ago,
yeah.
or
So,
even when we met.
I will go back then 8 weeks. So how did I start it? Like, what were
Well,
the
how did we meet?
questions?
You know, like our
Yes.
meeting.
Yeah. So the first thing I would say is like I already wanted to learn about myself. And like like for just want to let you know about myself. Like my mind, it's always running like way too much like than the normal people, so it got burned out really quick. So it was already in like these days mostly in the future or past, right? Never staying in present. So I was looking so I learned about chakras a little bit like online, but I need a person. I was trying to find a person who would help me, who have like excellent knowledge about this thing. So one day I met Leanne at a meditation center, and we start talking about chakras. And like when I talked to her, she felt like really experienced, and then we started about this 8 week program. And then I wanted to do this because I have a lot of questions, especially like I told you, I'm overthinker. So so I had a lot of questions. So she was the one, she was able to answer all those. So that was the moment I was like, okay, I should get her like training. So that's how we started the training.
So grateful for you, and also grateful that I have something that's available when I'm in a moment where when we ask the universe for a wonderful thing and we attract the right person right in front of us, I really feel like that's probably the greatest gift we can be when we're being very rooted in the offerings that we want to put back into the universe to help people with what we've experienced ourselves. So my personal experience with chakras and my awakening and my calling with them started with rainbows. Simply as a child, I love rainbows. I love colors. Then it turned into yoga at age 15. Now, the beautiful thing about yoga listeners, you know, and clients like Sav that come into a journey like this is when we have this personal experience and then we find that connection or we experience the feeling of looking in and feeling a chakra, and we spend a lot of time developing connection to our body with it, that organic, natural thing that's happening multiplies in time because of our allowing of practice. And so the practice of coming for 8 weeks, Sav, you could simply, we'll just go through week by week about how the practice has helped you to now feel by the end where we merged the rainbow bridge and we were able to feel all chakras in the body. And just by identifying one at a time and just taking the time with them. So let's go back to week one where we
Yeah,
worked on
we started with root chakra.
root chakra and a little bit of our Kegel squeezes and that mula bandh, holding that
Yeah.
and the asanas and stuff like that, and how the dynamic work that we are doing with meditation, how that made you feel.
So the dynamic really helped me with like taking out the frustration. Like first of all, let's start with a very active breathing. So it pumps up like a lot of oxygen in our mind and make it it helps us to relax more, like later on with the meditation. And there is a part where you have to take all the frustration out, like if you have any. And I think it's wonderful for the people like who are suppressing their feelings inside. So that's the only way to take it out. And of course they're gonna feel relaxed later on.
Yeah. And then, before we even got into the dynamic, we're getting the body prepared by understanding how to separate the breath. So we did our 3-part yoga breath, just our belly, our ribs, and our chest. So then when we are pumping breath into our body or we are doing dynamic movements, that we're doing it safe. And so, audience, a very big part of introducing people into dynamic work is to do it properly, to do it gradually. And so long term, you can have more benefits to your practice and more peace in your mind with being still. So going back to our 3-part yoga breath and isolating your body, thinking about the postures when you're holding your body in the yoga, how'd that make you feel?
Good. Like it was my first time trying yoga, and when I was practicing with you, so then I found out like I need more of the yoga practice because I was not flexible as much. I thought.
Yeah. And I
Yeah. So
think,
and it's
with
really good
sitting,
for warming up before doing all those active meditations. Uh, so for warming up, you definitely need to do yoga before it.
well, even before we're going to a gym to a strong exercise, right? The beauty of preparing the body properly is knowing that we have an internal digestive system, we got internal muscles, we got meridians, we have chakras. Now that you're understanding how that internal, very subtle body works with all those nadis, the 5 koshas, how all of this miraculous wisdom ties into this vast being that we are. Now, having that wisdom in the first week and putting your foot into the water, and then your previous experiences. Why don't you talk about like previous experiences and then walking into this program, how that changed anything?
So, just like I told you, I wanted to stay in more like in present, and I always have curiosity about learning the chakras, about the energy flow, because I'm not the guy. If somebody tells me like you do this, like if it doesn't match anything scientific, I don't do it. So I have a lot of questions. So when I met her, like she was telling me all the scientific reasons behind it. So that was the one thing which I wanted to do it, like all, like I told you, I wanted my answers, like all how do the energy flow works and everything. So she
Mm.
was able to explain. And before, like in the beginning, we do like almost it was 1 hour theoretical part. So she was going through the book and each and everything step by step. So I understand before doing it, like what I'm going to do and how it's gonna help me.
Yeah, the theory is important. Even like myself personally, doing yoga for years from like VHS or from online, but if we don't know the theory behind how the passageways of the breath work, what are the 8 limbs of yoga, how did this all start, why it can benefit us when we slow the mind down, that the body goes into natural healing states, we won't really know the genuine foundation of how this one science reaches out into the tree of life and connects to everything. Right. And that's why I connected the dynamic work on my Zen master, because in my life journey and in utilizing yoga, there was something that I really needed deeper at that time when he had come into my life. So from there, the dynamic work allowed me to deepen my yoga. It's why I always bring the 2 pillars together, or even in this course, is like to speed up that process. Okay, here's the information. Here's my level of experience of being a 500-hour teacher as a yoga teacher. Here's my dynamic work, here's this. And then when we combine it, there's miraculous things that can happen. And then when it's ongoing, because there's enough in this course alone while we continue to talk about the chakras that you can use for a lifetime. And it's another reason why I've made it so dynamic, was because my masters before me that allowed me to have such dynamic expansion of many methods, allow me to find ways of how I work with my personality, or like you said, how your mind is working. Like if you have such a busy mind and you have a hard time concentrating, you got to find the method that's going to work for you. And yoga could be really good for you, but you may need some other support of dynamic work to really understand the yoga, right? Because
Right.
yoga could be too relaxed for you when you have a really busy mind. So that's
Yes.
why I mixed them and I merged them so that people could actually genuinely have the experience with deep yoga meditation?
I personally believe like almost every person will need it in coming 5-10 years, because we are already stressed with so much of living style. Everything is expensive. Our body is staying always in stress mode. I will like say in survival mode. So we'll never feel peace. And the moment you try to feel zero, like in the present moment where there is a no thought coming in your mind, so that's the moment you're gonna feel the best moment of your life, like total peace.
And that's really important to stress upon audience when we talk about the zero. So referring to what Sav is talking about is when we have the ability to be here now, and we already know we're not controlling the blood in our body, the changes when we cut our body and the universe miraculously heals it fast. We have such a powerful, positive vehicle that we're in that when we're pouring in these overwhelming parts of life and how it shocks our system and it gives us these challenges, utilizing meditation, yoga, pranayama, or even understanding your chakra system will help you to see the positive and negative aspects to bring them into that unification of the zero. And what we were utilizing, the Kundalini, the awareness of how that pleasure in our body of this beautiful power that we hold can give us some more peace and flow. So moving into the sacral chakra, we went from root chakra into sacral chakra. And there we work with our senses and we work with that expansion of even our sensuality, you know, and how we learn about each chakra is positive or negative in their own nature and how they rise up. And so getting to know the body and the emotional body or even the chakra body, you know, how was it in your second week? We did the Nada Brahma where we did our humming and we were humming until we became nothing.
Yeah.
And then we became the observer where we learned about witnessing. Talk about that.
So when we did humming, so it's the sound which we have to make through nose and create a certain vibration with our body. So so we have to, so in that part, like we have to spread the energy. Like I don't know how to explain it actually. Like so then we have to collect that energy back, right? So yeah, and then after that you have to lay down, like and you, most of people, they feel so relaxed, like i've I've slept, like
Mm.
I remember I started snoring when I was doing the final part.
Yeah, so we're talking about the Nad Brahma. So the Nad is the primal sound that comes from Omkar. So we are rooting ourselves back into the primal sound that heals all things through humming. You know, when we're humming, it does bring us through the higher chakras, but it will center the energy down into the navel. So it's the closest to that center point of the sacral chakra. And so the reason why we combine that with, you know, the sound, we were also doing lam bum. So we're in our second seed sound, bringing that energy through and experimenting with how these universal bija mantras can activate the chakras. Talk about this, the bija mantras and what you experienced from that. We were using lam, bum, ram, yam, hum, om. Oh.
So I only mostly remember the sound which we made with the, like when we were humming.
Yeah.
So like I told, like it's not a one day thing. Like if we attend the class, we have to practice each and every day, and because of my busy schedule, I was not able to practice it every day. So so I will be doing it more, like taking time out of it and doing it more. So I
Mhm.
mostly did the one, I don't remember which week it was, like when we started from the like breathing techniques from the lower abdominal and to upper up to crown, and and another one was the dynamic one. And I remember I felt so cold when I was doing it because a lot of oxygen was pumping in my brain.
So did your body get a little bit lightheaded or what happened?
Oh, it was like cold. Like my hands, I can feel my hands were getting cold, and my mind, like when we were pumping too much of oxygen in our body, and it was
Mm.
a wonderful thing.
It's like they call it the cool breeze of love. And it's kind of interesting how oxygen has that benefit of even increasing our oxygen, our immunity when we're holding it or when we're amplifying it, and how this magnificent pranic body works. Moving into the third week, we'll talk about a little bit about the solar plex and our personal power. Um, think a little bit also, other than the dynamic work, think about when you're doing the yoga and you're warming up your body and you would come in with an active mind, because you know your biggest issue, which you were drawing into, was your active mind. How quickly yoga would help it slow down. So even with the breathing technique, we had done the Kapalabhati and the Bhastrikam. So you think about the Kapalabhati and the solar plex, you know, when we're just doing the forceful inhalation and the passive inhalation, you know, how did those breathing techniques help you when you were coming in with such an active mind into coming into that zero?
Oh yeah, like those exercises, those are the like all the heavy breathing ones. They were the best because they were they were helping me calm down with my mind because I was feeling so good when I was like pumping a lot of oxygen with my mind, and it was helping me to stay in present more. And the one which was, I think, the one was Natraj. We
That was
started
in the fourth chakra.
dancing,
Yeah.
yeah, dancing
Yeah.
with the flow, and this was the wonderful thing. Like you don't in this meditation, you don't have to think about like how to dance or everything. You just have to go with the flow, like where your body is going. You don't have to like act in a certain way. Just let be yourself and express how your body is behaving with music.
And what's really interesting, even about that, before we go into the heart chakra, was the chakra breathing in the third chakra. So when we're breathing deeply into each chakra and then merging, breathing deeply into each chakra and then merging, and breathing deeply into each chakra and then merging, there was a lot of breathing. There's a lot of breathing. So you got to expand, you know, a methodology. Say, when you're talking about survival and what people really need, when we have these methodologies, we have the ability to become that zero for a certain amount of time, where we let go and we trust. We trust that existence is taking care of us, because if it can take care of our blood flow, if it's taking care of everything for everybody, somehow or other, you know, whether people have food or they don't, or they have millions of dollars or they have $1, there's somehow or other things are working for us. So
And I
these
want to
methods,
share. Sorry to interrupt.
yeah.
I just want to share like one experience which I had before I met Lian. So there was a person who came to our house, and he was doing same exercise what Lian is doing. That's what motivated me to meet her. And so his age was around, I would say, 55 to maybe 60, right? And he was so energetic and lightheaded, like what he was talking to and everything, right? So one thing I was questioning, like not even 20-year-old person is that active like that person, and he was like, it's all because of these kind of meditations he do. He challenged me like, put a music in your backyard and play it for 24 hours. I would not stop for a single minute. I was like, what is this? Right. So all those things, like I personally met, like so those all experience, like I want to try this thing out, like what's the thing which I am missing.
Yeah, and you know what? Because the methods have their own beauty, it's like sometimes we expand from the methods. You know, like when I was doing, we were talking, you now we're going to the heart chakra and we talk about Nataraj, like I was doing so many of these methods for so long, and then I'd be in the marketplace and there'd be music playing in the air. And because my vibration was so purified with good internal intention, I was really hearing more. I would hear more of the sounds inside a music piece. I would hear the person express from an emotion. I mean, we do it when we connect to music, why it makes us more multidimensional, that we need to take from this emotional survival body and bring it out somehow. So the creativity of all artists or musicians, it's really just a way, a portal of them getting either their darker side or their light side. Now, the beauty about meditation, it evolves going beyond the dark, and not dark meaning negative, because we did that in the last week. Dark meaning the fear-based mentality and the fears that we're having without trusting in that aspect of survival where we don't have faith, right? So a lot of these methods, including yoga, help us to yoke, to become in union with that Purusha, or what we call the supreme consciousness. And it's a natural thing that happens for myself, and that's why I share it. So moving into that heart chakra, think about, you know, opening your body. When you're opening your body in that yoga asana, you know, immediately you weren't just closing it with that fear. You're opening your heart, you were curving your spine. You know, talk a little bit about that and how you felt about that.
So it was wonderful. Like it definitely helped. Like in that week, which like I want to share that experience when I was sitting outside in my front yard, right in front of my house, and suddenly when I was looking at the trees and everything, I felt so peace. Like like there was a different, like so silence in the atmosphere. Like I felt like there was such a noise inside my brain which was going on, and it was silent at that time, and I felt like, oh man, it has been so many years I felt this.
And that's what we carry. So the whole idea about any practitioner who's out teaching, why we teach is because the masters have given us gifts to carry those gifts to more people, because the survival mode without knowing the mind or wanting to understand a no mind or a zero mind can be scary for people, because, oh, I got this big mind, I got to listen to every thought that I have. No, you can narrow in and master those thoughts to utilize it to benefit your life. And so that's also a very big part of the concentration issue, or ADHD, or OCD, or all these other mental issues that have come now because of their phones being stuck to our body, because of overuse of TVs, and less connection with each other from a heart place. So coming into the heart in that method, in that week, we had a chance to connect with the heart and the yoga that opens up the heart. Immediately when we open up and we reach, we're creating a trust. We're creating a trust again. So we'll go into our throat chakra, and that's another dance that we did. That one, da da da, shoo. And then we did the whirling, and then we laid on our stomach. And also there in our heart, in our throat chakra, we did reverse. We reversed the body completely so that the blood flow would go right into the head when we did plow, or any of the other throat asanas. The bija mantra there is lam bam ram yam hum. Sound, color, right? Talk about how you feel about that. And then the no dimensions. So we were doing the Sufi technique of whirling and then being in that. So how does it feel dancing?
So, so in the beginning, so I was learning so it was my first day doing that. I saw first day, like first 10, 15 minutes, I was trying to copy like how to do it and everything, right? So then later on, I closed my eyes and just let my subconscious mind do everything for me. And I was trying to stay in present moment. That's it.
Yeah. And then the whole gift of that meditation, what's really interesting about no dimensions is, when you are moving in the 6 directions all around you, you're actually creating a center. You're creating a stronger center in the core of your body, so that when you are whirling, that you can actually whirl longer. It's made so well. And we all do that as kids, spinning around in circles, around and around and around and around. And it brings back your innocence. So when we talk about the zero, we talk about no mind, we go back to our innocence. We draw back into going beyond fear and having pure trust, right?
If somebody wants to try something, like I would challenge them for do little exercise, just for 5 minutes, just sit in nature and try to stay in the present moment. Then you will notice your mind, like you gonna run for your phone, you going to do something, your mind, you're gonna run in past future. Like if you sit for 5 minutes, maybe for 30 seconds or less, than you're gonna try to stay in present, and you have to force it. Like we definitely need this thing in our daily routine. Like just think about this, like all the millionaires, billionaires, they try to do meditation every single morning and try to stay in present moment.
Yeah. And then, throughout doing the practice a little bit longer, I mean, you're there for at least 2 hours, sometimes 3, because the first week we had to go through so much information, that really allows you to root. The whole idea through going through the chakras is to root your energy to feel that presence. So some people, may not be able to get into that state of feeling the cool breeze, but I really feel we do naturally when we overexert the mind in any way. The totality frame, I mean, like blissed out, the word I have here, blissed out, it's bliss with totality. So the Zazen teaching is whatever we're in, be total in it. And as long as we're total in it, it'll shift on its own nature. But the pure observing, when we come into the witness, is to see that. So these techniques, it does take time to develop this language and to develop this habits. Now moving into the third eye, we were looking through the candle and then getting totally empty and then just watching the flickering, like stilling the concentration going in. And now with your lack of concentration, how did that make you feel in that moment?
So definitely, so that exercise, so it's the same thing, like try to stay in present when, and you have to concentrate on the candle. So like sometimes my mind was going back and forth, but after that I was trying to come back, and like when I was aware like my mind is running, so I just came back in that same routine.
Good. And then discovering the third eye too, just having a connection with each chakra every week. You know, how did you feel in the separation as we move up and you start to really take time for each one? Just like a child, we have different children, different feelings. How about taking time for the chakras?
So what do you mean, like taking
So
time?
like you knowing that you have all these chakras, but you
Yes.
know, if you took time in the beginning, just one chakra at a time, how did that
Mhm.
help you feel for the appreciation? Deeper?
Yes.
Yeah.
So so like every day we were doing different chakras, right? So that's the thing. Like I did not get confused much with another ones, right? So every day it was something new. So another thing which the mistake which I did was not practice enough. Like that's because of my busy schedule. But if you are doing it, like you should do it. Like it should be your daily life routine, but you have to practice at least like 3 to 4 times a week minimum.
Mm. Yeah, and there's so much variety there. But even going back to like the beautiful thing when you started to sway, so we were doing such deep breathing, and then I was helping you to guide you towards that natural movement,
Natural movement of the flow,
the natural
yes.
movement of the flow in the body,
Yeah.
subtle movement,
Subtle, yeah.
and then to be with that even when you're at work. So like even when you're at work, it's like, right, and always coming back to that. So don't forget that. Moving into the crown chakra, and we did Mahamudra. So we were able just to drop into that natural movement and let the body take it. A little bit different than Nataraj or No Dimensions. And where the chakras were, you know, crown chakra, we did headstands. So exploring how the energy in the body, when we shift into a headstand, how we can feel movement and blood flow and like worries of the mind or concentration issues naturally flush through the body. How was your experience with headstands?
So handstand, honestly, I love handstands. I even in the gym and everything, I do it. so, so it
But
was
now
easy for
connecting to
me.
your chakra, right? So think like not just for the fun of like being a kid. It's like now think about the chakra, like the energy's flowing, we're unlocking,
Yeah.
we're unblocking that sensitivity and that receptivity that we're having just with that miraculous internal body.
So it was definitely like pleasing. Your mind was relaxing.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had done the Mahamudra and then giving thanks and gratitude by holding our hands up to existence and allow
Yes.
our body to become like an empty bamboo, a vessel where energy was moving through it and then bowing to existence. What a beautiful golden key. These are golden keys of all the ancient ones that allow us to understand the greater force, the greater source energy that's always with us. And then going into the last soul star chakra where we worked with the golden light, the merging of the gold and Mother Earth, and then the feminine, the masculine merging with merging the rainbow bridge. Now we were working with all the asanas and really seeing how, you know, sun salutations of Surya Namaskar was designed because in there all the asanas are, and then creating new flow sequences and expanding yoga and how yoga expands into a lifestyle where it works for you. And like say you're having a hard moment, just go back in, okay, well, the positive negative aspects of not being grounded, how do I get grounded? Go do some yoga poses.
Mm-hmm.
Go
Right.
do your pranayama, go do your breathing, slow down the mind, right? Now that we're coming to an end with our podcast, I just want to see, you know, what do you recommend for anybody when you had already referred a beautiful client yesterday to me? I appreciate that so much. Like, why would you refer somebody? What would be the really great key of this 8-week program in helping somebody's life?
So this is the thing which, like, I just want to tell the honest opinion. So this is the thing which is hidden from us because the more people gonna attach with yourself, the less, mm, like, like the more you're gonna feel more peaceful and everything, right? So, so the whatever the metrics or say like they have developed us to always stay in the stress mode, can so we cannot grow our consciousness. So the more you stay in present, the more relaxed your brain is, the more peaceful you will feel, the more wonderful ideas you're gonna think in your mind. And if you're not frustrated or everything, you won't take it out on your family, right? So it's, and especially with the kids like who have concentration problem, right? So like
Mm,
I was, so if I have to read a book, if normal person can read like within like 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 15 minutes, I will take 45 minutes because my mind is constantly running back and forth. So it's a beautiful exercise which you can do. Like, so for example, if a kid is in a school, he won't lose a concentration there. So it's a practice which anybody can do to fix a lot of things.
And it's oxygen. It's a natural gift. It's free.
And
Even
there are
learning it.
a lot of health problems which are related to stress. So
Mm.
so definitely it can help with everything.
Well, I appreciate you so much. I appreciate your referrals also, and I appreciate learning with more minds that are learning in the way that they learn, and all the gifts that you brought to my life in the last 8 weeks. I can't wait to see you again and have more fun with all these wonderful students that are arriving into this beautiful field of meditation and healing. And anything else that you want to leave for the listeners? Your last
Yes, the
comments?
one thing is you won't find any better master than Leanne in whole universe, I would say, because she have all answers which I ask. Like I have asked almost 1,000, right? Yeah, and she has all the knowledge you wanted. So you, even if you read a book or do YouTube, you won't get all your answers because I have done that all. So she was able to help me with like all the answers, just like asking Google, "Hey, what does mean?"
You're such a
Right.
beautiful being, and the answers come from getting silent. My greatest gift that I can offer anybody is to continue doing the meditation. So I look forward to meditate with you again soon, my divine friend, and I wish you a beautiful day.
Thank you. Thanks, Liam.
Namaste.
Bye.